All right, everybody. We're gonna try this again. Okay, I'm working on this new equipment. I'm not the brightest guy in the world, so I'm trying to get better, man. But I'm not very tech savvy, so I have to have like some people help me out, and then whatever, man. I'm a mouth breather. What can I tell you? But I'm working on this podcast because I'm trying to get better. Obviously, we're trying to do things more professional because we're going to get more guests in, and I want them to get better video. So I've been working on getting all this wiring done because we're actually doing this out of my man shed. And yeah, man, it's just a lot of intricate pieces. I I mean, I knew it was going to be difficult, but yeah, this is a lot. This is work, man. But I mean, hey, listen, man, I'm not complaining. I try not to. Like I said, I try not to complain. I just didn't know it was going to be such a long process because it's literally taken. I've done about 4 or 5 podcasts, and the sound will be off or the video will be off, and it just like I said, I'm trying to provide a quality. I'm trying to provide value for you guys. I'm not taking any of this for granted, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time because of what I've said earlier from all the other podcasts that I've seen relating to like men's issues, because I'm a man, and even though I'm older, even though I'm 47, I'm always trying to get better, man. I'm always trying to I'm looking for answers. I'm looking to progress, to be more educated, to look at things differently, which it's part of life. I sometimes feel like I'm like 10 years behind, man. I'm like, man, if I would have known what I know right now when I was in my 30s, I'd be a much better individual. But like I said, this one is more of like, I'm going to call this one more of like the reflections that I have and things that I want to push out to you guys, because this is just a brand new little podcast that I just started doing, and all of this is going to be very organic. It's going to be very one by one, and obviously if the content is good, then people are going to want to listen. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's like kind of like business. If you can be competitive in business, you're going to stay in business. And if not, well, you're going to go out of business. So we're going to see what happens. Thankfully, I don't make a living off of this because man, I think just like with everything in life, it takes such a long time to be successful. I thought when I was in my 20s, I'd be like a multimillionaire in a few years. And no, it takes a long time. Like I've had my business now for about 20 something years, and I do all right for myself, but I still have a long way to go. Life is certainly a lot easier now than it used to be, because I'd say the majority of my life I was struggled as far as trying to make enough money to support myself and my family. But as you get older, things get a lot easier. You get smarter with your money, and yeah, just like I said, it's part of life. It makes you appreciate what you have. That's why it has to. I think it almost has to take you a long time for you to kind of understand uh, and just appreciate what you have. Because it takes a long time to get there. But what I wanted to talk to you young guys today is some of the stuff that I said on the last podcast. The last one where it was just like I said, based on reflections and trying to be better individuals. So I noticed a lot of you guys, especially the younger guys. I mean, you could be older too, but the younger guys or the older guys have a problem with shyness, right? So I've never really been like a shy person. I've always been like a social person, but I never really understood why, why I was a social person. So I had to kind of like study it. So whatever, man, I just doing some like, just being studying about psychology and charisma and leadership, especially through the army. I was finally able to connect all the dots, as far as that goes. And now today I'm kind of like, almost feel like I put all the dots together and kind of I have a better I have a better understanding of who I am, right? Because I'm sure of myself. I have those references in my life that make me the person that I am today. But like I said, for you guys that are younger, and we spoke about this, like I said on the other podcast, or I spoke about it, was if you guys are having like if you guys are extremely shy, man, I don't really know. There's some people that just grow up in some like really dysfunctional homes, or they're just not they're not socialized when they're kids, so they become very awkward later on in life. So that's gonna kind of, well, that's not gonna kind of, it's gonna hurt you, especially if you're trying to start a business or do business with other people, because business at the end of the day is obviously about putting out a quality product, but it's about making relationships with people, man. So what I was telling you guys is the stuff that I was talking about, and all the stuff that I've been listening to for a while now, all the red pill, manosphere, whatever, man. I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, all that stuff. Um, Alpha something. I don't even know what. Let me give you guys a little advice. If somebody tells you they're alpha, they're probably not alpha. Okay? So yeah, a lot of this alpha male, beta male, whatever, gamma, I don't know, whatever. Um, what we talked about last time was, for me, I only saw two choices for men, right? Something that's going to help you out in your development as you're growing up is, number one would be to join the military. Now, if you choose not to do that, that's fine too. That's not a problem. Okay? That's just, to me, it's kind of like the easiest way, or kind of like a big part of the process that you need to learn about, being an adult and being a man and being a leader, right? To try to be a leader, that's what you know we aspire to be that. We aspire to be that for our family, for our kids. So I think it's just like, I think it plays a big part. Um, Maybe not for you. For me, it played a big part. So, like I said, I always talk about references. So that's my reference, right? But so, okay, so if you don't want to join the military, you should definitely be taking care of, you should be doing some sort of martial arts. And as I think I've been pretty clear about what I think you should do. I mean, if you're a wrestler, man, that's awesome. If you're a wrestler and a boxer, that's even better. But you should definitely think about going to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school. And if I were to recommend anybody here in Georgia, because I'm from Georgia, it would be Travern. Any Travern affiliated school, I would do that. Especially if you're like 20, man, I would say even if you're 17 to do that, right? Because that's what's going to build that mental toughness up that all of us need, especially men. You know, we need to get used to being in uncomfortable places. You know, So when I was a young man, I was a pretty decent athlete. You know, I played a lot of sports, and as I got older, I started to play. I wanted to be kind of like my big brother, you know. So he was a soccer player, so I started playing soccer, but I wasn't really. It was, I guess, maybe you could call me decent when I was younger, just for the mere fact that I'm of like Chilean descent, and you know that's kind of like, man, that's all they do down there. That's like, there's no other sport in South America. I mean, there is, but there isn't. I mean, soccer or we don't even call it that. We call it football. Football over there, it's just like, it's everything. I mean, it's everything down there. So, you know, at least if anything, compared to like, I guess, growing up here in the States, I was decent. But once I got older, it was obviously got a little bit more competitive, and, you know, I completely sucked. But obviously, you know, with hard work, eventually I became a pretty decent player, you know, played in a bunch of different teams, played some ADSL, which is like, I think it's the one below double A. So it's like a lot of former professional players, collegiate. So it's a competitive league, man. So I learned a lot, but I always noticed when I was younger, man, I was just a whiner, man. I would just always whine. Like if I got pushed the wrong way or elbowed or something like that, I would just start complaining, you know, and it always took me away from the game. And I never really figured that out till till I went to till I joined the army and went to basic training. And then I came back and then I started doing the same thing. This is, I guess it would probably be years, like joining the army, doing my thing in the army, and then picking up soccer again and noticing that when I played, and I hadn't played in a long time, so I was still pretty rusty, but even when I was being pushed and shoved and whatever, tackled and fouled, I noticed that I no longer got up and said anything. I just basically got up and dusted myself off and just kept moving. So I always, when that happened, when that moment happened, when I really thought about it and I was like, wow, I really have changed. It wasn't me. It was, it was the army. You know, the army did that to me. The army changed the way that I thought, you know. But let's get to something that's more going to be more tangible for you younger guys, you know, especially I know you guys like to, you know, like women, of course, like the ladies. And what I was telling you on that last episode, it was as far as the, let's talk about like seduction, the seduction community. I was telling you that there was some good stuff about that that community, but there's a lot of half truths to that, to what they're talking about too, and a lot of it is just very manipulative, right? So why be manipulative when you can actually be authentic, and not just for women, but just in life alone, you know, just in life itself, just to be authentic, right? How about that? To be the man you want to be, right? To be the man that other leaders or that other people want to follow. You want to be that man, right? So, as I stated earlier on the other podcast about leadership and the leaders that I was around in the army, good and bad. So of course you look at the good, and of course you know you like you worship them, man. You want to be just like them. You know, you want to be just like your hero in the army, and usually it's somebody, you know, that outranks you, you know, that's in charge of you, or somebody, you know, that, you know, you're like, man, this guy's, he's just the man, you know, he's just like, everybody just respects him, you know. And then you would meet these characters that would fit the part, meaning they would look the part, you know, they were like, I don't know, you know, Ranger School or Ranger Tabbed, you know, combat infantry badge, airborne wings. I mean, you know, they had every chest, everything they had on their chest. They had every school, you know. Pathfinder. I mean, you name it. They've been to air assault. They've been to every school in the Army, you know. So they were like, on paper, they were great leaders. They looked like great leaders. And then, not all, but some, they failed when it actually came time to be a leader, right? So, man, we had this goofy LT on my second deployment to Afghanistan, and he was a small guy. He had these really, really light blue eyes. And I think he worked in the Peace Corps, man. He worked in the Peace Corps before joining the Army. And he was just like this goofy guy, man. He was not very athletic. And I remember every time we would do patrols, he would get on the truck and he would just do this weird, silly little jump just to get on the truck. And I was like, man, I don't think this guy's ever even like played a sport, like just really uncoordinated. Because just the mere fact of jumping on the truck, he looked really goofy, man. And I was like, man, what the hell? I'd never seen nothing like that before in my life. I was like, man, that's so bizarre. But he was the nicest guy in the world, right? And of course, you know, the younger guys, the younger soldiers would talk. I mean, I would talk too, and I was like, man, this guy's silly, man. This guy's like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but we did this mission. We did this mission on these mountains, man. We were spread out because we were in like, you know, fighting positions, you know. And you're talking about, you know, like far out, man. I'm talking like, you know, we were at the bottom of the mountain or in our position, and then we had the tit, which is the highest point where our guys were, you know. So they were holding that ground on that tit, on top of that mountain. I'd say it was probably, I don't know, about 500 meters. The tit, the top of the position where we were basically holding terrain. Basically, I think it was like they were providing overwatch, you know, and they're covering a different sector of the mountain because we kind of like, you know, obviously everybody spread out. So, man, I was in my fighting position one night. I don't know, it was maybe the fifth, fourth night, whatever, being in a fighting position. And this LT, man, he just came out of nowhere, just jumped into our fighting position. This is in the middle of the night. I mean, you have to think this is Afghanistan, man. You know, it's not like people are walking into your fighting position, you know, like it's not a big deal. You know, it's like that's why it's a fighting position. So this guy jumps in there and I mean, he was checking up on us. And I was blown away, man. I was blown away by that because we're in the middle of Afghanistan in a combat zone in a fighting position. And this guy is literally going from fighting position to fighting position at night, checking up on all the guys to make sure that all the guys are good. So you see what I'm talking about, guys? You see what I'm talking about? So after all these years, man, I've finally put all of this stuff together, man. And those were the kind of things that were like, that's a leader right there. That's a leader. I don't care I don't care if you fucking jump on the truck and you do a handstands. That's leadership right there. It's undeniable. He was checking up on his guys. That's what he was doing. He was checking up on his guys. I'd go to war with that man right there. Because I mean, he's on top of a mountain in Afghanistan in the middle of the night, moving. You know, he could easily, I don't know, somebody could have snatched him up. Anything could happen on that mountain. I mean, it's complete darkness, especially at night. I mean, it's not like you're going around with a friggin' flashlight, you know? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. I mean, those are the things that I experienced that I was like, man, if I can't put this together and me myself, once my time came to be a leader, if I can't be a good leader, I mean, I can't tell you, you know, then I'm not worth a damn. But those are some of the things that I saw, man. I saw things like that all the time, and I was just shocked. I was just shocked because sometimes it was the guy that fit the mold. It was, this big guy, whatever. He just looked like an animal and he was just a great leader. And yeah, okay, he fit the role. And then you would meet these guys that didn't fit that mold, but were still exceptional leaders. You see what I'm talking about? So, so there's just, like I said, guys, that's just one lesson. That's one lesson in leadership. You see what I'm talking about? So, what else did we want to talk about? Oh, yeah, guys. You young guys. I see you guys. I go out, I was saying, I like to go out once or twice a week, and I like to go out, and I go out by myself, man. I don't go out with anybody. I go out by myself, and I go to socialize with people. I go to talk to people. I force myself to do this. Now, why do I do this? I do this because it just makes me better at it. It makes me better at reading people. Is it uncomfortable sometimes? Yeah, it's uncomfortable sometimes, right? Can people be rude to me sometimes? Yeah, definitely. But man, you got to go out there and try it. If you're really shy, what I said before, guys, if you're really shy and you want to just do like a warm up, go to the grocery store, go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, go wherever. When you go pay for it, when you go talk to the cashier, you force yourself to say hello to her. They have a name tag. Just force yourself to do that. Don't do it to where it's just about talking to attractive women. If you do that with everybody, then you will always be ready to basically approach anybody you want. You'll be able to make a conversation like that. So don't think about it just like that. Don't think about it like it's just about women. It's not just about women, man. It's about everything. It's about everything that you do. And this is some of the ways that it will get you there. Are you going to be like fluid as far as talking to people like right away? No, it's not, man. It doesn't work like that. I mean, some people will learn faster. Some people are just awkward and it's going to take longer, but don't worry about it. Just go with the process. So I call them hired guns. So bartenders, waitresses, cashiers, anybody that's serving you, right? That's the time for you to work on your social skills, right? If you're a bit more advanced, I would recommend you going out by yourself. You can go out with a wingman too, that's fine, but honestly, go out by yourself. Go out by yourself. Get used to being rejected, right? Get used to it because it's going to build that callus in your soul, man. You're just not going to care. This is like I said, man, they've been studying this now for a while, and the reason why, what led me to this and what led me to what I did in the army was leadership and charisma and all that stuff, and social skills. All that stuff, you need to have that. You need to have that as a grown man. Okay, if you want to crush in life, you know, you need it. So, like I said, if you're more advanced, take the challenge, man. Go out there by yourself. And when you go out there by yourself and you go out at night, think about it like this. If you go out there with a t-shirt, just a regular t-shirt and some jeans, you look just like anybody else, right? But if, let's say, you put on a nice shirt and a sports jacket and a nice watch, and maybe you smell a little good, you put a little cologne, and you worry about your hair and all that stuff, I think it makes it easier for you to approach people and for people to approach you, you know? Because people are going to know that just by looking at you, you're like, oh, look, this guy, he he takes care of himself, you know? He dresses well, you know? And that says a lot about you guys. I want you to think about it from like, like a female perspective. A woman, they'll spend hours doing their eyebrows and combing their hair or doing their hair or dyeing their hair or putting on a dress. So that's like, it's almost like women are good at attention to detail. So if they're good at attention to detail for themselves, then they're definitely going to pay attention to the fact that you are groomed, you're clean, you've got maybe, like I said, a nice jacket or a nice shirt on. They're going to pay more attention to that. They're going to see what kind of shoes you have, right? Attention to detail. So my point is, man, it's like I said, I look at the way some of these men dress today and I'm like, what? I mean, I've seen guys that are older than me that are wearing a pair of Jordans with a Michael Jordan jersey. It's like, what are you, 12 years old? I'd be fine for a kid. You're 50 years old, man. Like, I don't know. It just, to me, it just seems bizarre. It's just like strange, you know? But, like I said, it's just references, man. I was raised by my grandfather, or, he died a long time ago, but I remember being around my grandfather and he always wore a suit, but it's a different generation too. But listen, man, I'm 47 years old and I wear suits, I wear 3-piece suits when I go out. Usually you'll find me just wearing this, but if I go out, I like to dress up, man, because I am a businessman. I want people to take me seriously. Imagine if I went out like this and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I got a business and I go to a nice place to eat. They're going to look at me like, well, first of all, you have to wear a jacket and you just don't, I don't fit the part, man. So if I were to go out like this and people treat me a certain way and I get upset about it, then whose fault is it? Is it their fault or is it my fault? It's my fault, right? So I'm just realistic, man. I'm realistic, and I'm telling you, man, it's like I said, this all fits into psychology. I totally see the difference. When I have a suit on, man, and I go out, I get treated so much better, man. I just do, I just do all the time. Sometimes I'll get mistaken if I'm like at a club or at a bar. Sometimes people think I work there. Sometimes people think I'm the owner, man. I'm just walking around, So just that's a little intel for you guys, man. Just for you guys to pick up this stuff, because like I said, I notice all these Manosphere shows are, man, it's just a big business. They're trying to get money out of these young impressionable guys, and I think a lot of times, man, they're pushing out the wrong information for you guys. So, think about that. That's just very basic stuff, like dress well, work out, man. I would definitely, you guys need to start working out, like I said before, start doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Definitely do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Get used to getting smashed, man. Get used to getting smashed. With this whole COVID-19, man, I haven't trained in about a month. I'm going to start at the beginning of next month again. And I definitely miss it. I don't miss the injuries, but I definitely get that satisfaction after rolling with somebody that it feels good. It feels really good. What else, man? What else can we talk about today? What I was talking about on the last podcast, man, was me starting to pick up on all this stuff with like psychology and stuff when I was in Guatemala training the forces down there. And the only reason I got into it was because, they were watching me all the time. So it kind of freaked me out at first. And then I just started to see them like they were looking at me like I had all the answers, And in a way, I was portraying myself like I did have all the answers, like that's kind of like almost like, the burdens of leadership. So if you're, if you're a leader, if you think of yourself as a leader and you have men following you or you have people following you, you want to do good, you want to do good by them, man. You don't want to let them down, right? So that's what, worried me the most was like, man, I don't want to let these people down. I want to give them the best training possible because at the end of the day, they're looking at me like, hey, man, this guy's an American soldier and this is, this is the standard, you know? So, yeah, the standard must be met, and I have to be held to that standard. So, I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot in Guatemala about being a real leader, man. To me, it was almost like a finishing school for me because all that stuff that I put together over, an 11-year career in the army, I'd finally put it all together. So I'm almost, man, I'm really thankful that I did that, man. It meant a lot to me because to me, it was towards the end of my career, and I finally had put all the pieces together. And like I said before, man, because I'm always looking to better myself. I started going online on YouTube and started looking at all these shows about men and how to be a better man. And I think some of them were okay. I think some of the shows were not bad, but some of the stuff they were talking about was just it went against what I believe in, man. Against what I believe in because I believe in being authentic, you know. And I'm just not a young man anymore, man. I'm 47 years old, so like I remember being 20 and not knowing anything, not having a father figure and I couldn't figure it out. So now at my age, man, I have a son, I have a daughter, I have a son that's just turned 25. I have a daughter that's 27. I'm a grandfather. That's unbelievable, man. It's incredible life. It's just amazing. But my son looks up to me, and I know that, man. I know that my son looks up to me. So I try to be the best man that I can be for my son and for my daughter too. So, how can I be a bad example when they're watching over me all the time? So, I'm not perfect, but I mean, that's at the end of the day, they're the ones that keep me, they keep me in line, because I can't let my kids down. I just can't do it, man. They mean so much to me and they look up to me, man. So I have to be that leader. So like I said, man, it pains me. A lot of you guys, man, I see you guys when you go out, man. I do a lot of people watching. Um, just a lot of insecure men out there. And just simple things, man. To me, it's just simple things. It's like opening the door for a woman, man. It goes such a long way. What happened to that? Is it gone? Or let's say you're with your date. Let's say you're with your date sitting at a bar and she goes up to go to the restroom. Do you stand up for her? Do you stand up when she stands up? And when she comes back, do you stand up again? I do. I do it all the time. It's called discipline. Discipline is 100% of the time. You can't half-ass discipline, okay? And it's manners, just simple manners. You know, it's part of being, if you consider yourself to be a man, you are, at the end of the day, maybe not all of us, but you are a warrior. You are trying to live that code, right? That Bushido. the way of the warrior? Do you want to be a warrior? Do you want to be a scholar and a warrior? Do you want to be a gentleman too? That because it all entails all that. So just think about it, guys. Think about it next time you go out on a date with a woman, and you walk her to the car, and you just don't get in your car. How about you open the door for her, right? How about you do that? Just simple things, man. Simple things like that. Like I said, I think it was Joe Rogan that was talking about it, and I think about it the same way. It just drives me nuts, man. It's when I go to the grocery store and I see all the carts all over the place. Right? You take a cart, you use it in the grocery store, you go outside, and you just what? What are you just going to throw it somewhere? Why don't you take your groceries, you put them in your car, and then you take that cart where it needs to go? Why don't you put it back in its place? Right? That's discipline too. And even though nobody's watching, that's the best time to do it, man. You're doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. Isn't that just amazing? Isn't that just an amazing thing when you can do that? I mean, I think it is. Do that all the time, guys, and start doing it now, right? Like I said before, man, a lot of the stuff too, that the RSD crap, it's all manipulative, man. It's like they're like making stuff up at the end of the day. They're not the men that they say they are. It's like, be the man. If you want people to find you interesting, do interesting things, man. Have a hobby. I don't know, paint, read books, right? Have a steady job, pay your bills. I don't know, travel, read, right? Stay current on, I don't know, economics. I'm a big fan of Dr. Thomas Sowell, man. If you guys should check him out, or Milton Friedman, but mainly Dr. Thomas Sowell. He happens to be an American economist. He's just amazing. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of like Jordan Peterson. A lot of the stuff that Jordan Peterson talks about, Thomas Sowell was talking about this stuff in the 70s, man. So it goes to show you, how ahead he was of his time, Now he's a very respected scholar. But even today, man, I'll ask guys that are older than me, I'm like, have you ever heard of Dr. Thomas Sowell? They're like, they don't know who I'm talking about. I'm like, how do you not know this guy, man? This guy's like, I don't know, one of the most important Americans in the last 50, 60 years. I don't know. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, listen to him. Listen to him. But yeah, guys, just think about that stuff, man. Just think about what I told you guys. I'm trying to reach out to you young guys. I'm trying to reach out to you guys that are lost out there, right? You guys out there that need a mentor, that need somebody to tell you, hey, man, maybe you should do this, right? Do this. I would say, honestly, if you can right now, man, try to start a business, man. Try to start a business. Even on the side. I've had my business now for 20 plus years. And I would say about at least 18 to 19 years, man, I struggled the whole time. Just struggled. But what I did was I kept going, man. I kept moving forward. I kept driving forward, right? And now finally, after all these years, man, I think I finally got my 10,000 hours, and yeah, man, my business is doing fine, But it took me 20 years, right? So, they always do these statistics when businesses go out of business. They're like, well, restaurant businesses, like 90% of them go out of business in the first 3 to 5 years. Okay, you can go by that model, but you can also you can surpass the 3 to 5 years, still struggle, and just continue moving forward. And then eventually you're going to get the right formula, right? eventually you're going to get enough of a clientele that's going to sustain your business, you know, because believe it or not, business, you know, your guys you're going to have regulars and you're going to have people who are going to come and go, you know. I mean, I have people that I've been doing business with since I started my business, you know. I'm still doing business with them, you know. That's how important it is to make relationships with people, you know, to talk to people, you know, and to, at the end of the day, to, you know, to put out a good product, you know. I try to learn from, you know, people like Jeff Bezos or Tillman Fertitta, you know. And Jeff Bezos, man, he lost millions and millions and millions of dollars for a long time. He was on a loss the whole time because he was kind of like seeing the future. He was kind of like he was building everything up, you know. And now he's one of the richest people in the world, you know. It's like I was talking about. I read that book about Tillman Fertitta, Shut Up and Listen. And he said, now this is a billionaire, okay? This is another billionaire, not this guy. He was saying that he can basically go into any business and tell you just from walking into a business whether that business is doing well or is being run the right way by the way it looks, as far as is the grass trimmed? Is there garbage on the floor? Are the signs lit? Right? I mean, all that stuff, man, all that stuff you can tell. That's if that stuff is good, if the grass is cut, if the signage is put up the right way, if there's no garbage on the parking lot, you know right there that's a good business. You know right there that they have good management. And that's not even anything military related, man. That's just regular business. In the Army, you'd call that attention to detail. Attention to detail. You would pay attention to things like that, right? So just think about it like that, guys. Anytime you go into a business and you notice that there's garbage everywhere, there's garbage, you know, in the parking lot, the signs are broken, maybe the carpet hasn't, you know, been vacuumed, the bathrooms are dirty, you know right there and then that you probably don't want to do business with that place. You know from that right there that that place is being run poorly. You see what I'm talking about? You see how it all falls into leadership? I'm going to tell you a story, man, about, and this is, I'm probably going to end with this because I'm trying to tie all this up, man, because I'm trying to get my podcast, like I was saying before, I was trying to get it to where it, you know, it's running the way it's supposed to. And I think I finally got it, man. I think it's streaming beautiful. It looks fantastic. So we're going to try this out. I'm pretty sure I have a guest tomorrow. So man, I was part of the mortar platoon in the Army, and we're firing mortar rounds, right? Obviously, we're firing 60 millimeter rounds. So we're hanging rounds, and I think we were hanging HE, which are high explosive rounds, highly explosive. I mean, they even say HE as in highly explosive, right? So I'm trying to think, was I on the gun or was I not on the gun? Yeah, I think I was on the gun. Yeah, I was on the gun line. I was just like running. I was like the section sergeant, basically making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to, you know, going back and forth. And usually what you'll have on a mortar platoon is you'll have like a misfire, right? Or a hung round. A misfire is basically when you hang around and it goes down the tube and it doesn't shoot out, you know, so you have to extract the round, you know. So you have to take the tube and you have to turn it upside down and you have to pull that live round out, you know. And you have to take it somewhere else because eventually, you know, EOD has to go out there and, you know, they have to blow it up, you know, because it's a dud. It's a dud. So you have to get rid of it. So, you know, it's like I said, man, it's a high explosive 60 millimeter mortar round. Now I knew there's like 30 dudes. There's a platoon of 30 dudes in that in that range. I know I'm the oldest guy. I'm not the highest as far as like the highest guy in like the totem, the leadership. I'd say I'm probably like the third or fourth, because we had the lieutenant, we had a staff sergeant, Ellis, and at the time I was an E5, but I was the E5 with the most rank, and I was on the gun line, so I knew for a fact. I'm sorry, guys. Just a little Rona. I'm pushing it out of my system. I'm just kidding. So I knew for a fact that I was going to have to get that round out, man. I was like, this sucks. I'm going to have to do it. So I'm getting ready to do my thing. And before I even stand up, man, two of my soldiers volunteered. Young guys, man. Young guys. One of them was, I don't know, 24, 25 years old. The other one was another NCO who was actually, he outranked me. He was younger than me, but he outranked me. So I was just a regular E5. I was just a regular sergeant, and he was an E6. He was a staff sergeant. So he was ahead of me. He volunteered. And man, if stuff like that doesn't teach you anything about leadership, I really just don't know what else will, because, what was shocking to me was that these guys just automatically volunteered, man. Nobody even had to tell them. They were like, yeah, roger that. Let's just get this done, And we got it done, man. I grabbed the live round, and took it to you had to take it to like almost like a bunker, because EOD has to blow it up, man. But, they'll come later on and they'll blow it up on their own time. Usually it takes like 5-7 hours. Who knows, man? They always take forever. So I'm holding on to this live round, and I'm walking it to the area where they're supposedly gonna get rid of it. So, obviously you got that pucker factor because you're holding on to a live round, and I put it down, and then I walk away from it. Brief, I walk away. And as I'm leaving, I'm about 150 meters away from this live round. The lieutenant says, hey, sergeant, we need to move it further. So in my mind, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, really? So, without anything, I didn't say anything. This is what's going on in my mind. I went back, I picked it up, and I took it further on. And that's it, man. And we, they got rid of it. But like I was saying, man, I always learned. I had so many of those lessons, man, when I was in the Army. So many lessons like that it just taught me so much, man. It taught me so much about what real leadership is about, that sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do. And sometimes people will just inspire you. They'll inspire you to be a better leader. You see what I'm saying? So just think about that for a second, and I know here in just a regular world, in the regular civilian world, you guys are looking for answers. And that's why I was telling you that you should join a jiu-jitsu class, a reputable one, a good one, and you'll find a mentor. I'm telling you, you will find a mentor, and somebody that'll put you under the wing and be like, hey, man, this is what we're going to do. And they're going to teach you a lot about life, and that's what you want, man, because you don't want to make all those mistakes when somebody can teach you the mistakes they've made. You see what I'm saying? So I would honestly, man, I'm telling you that if you guys really want to test yourselves, is one, join a jiu-jitsu class. Start doing jiu-jitsu as soon as possible. Two, start lifting weights. Three, if you want to get better with people, if you want to be more sociable, if you want to get better with women, you got to start going out, man. Stop watching all this crap on YouTube, because all these guys are telling you this and that, and they're good with the ladies, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Okay, from what I can tell, I don't think so, man. I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I'm just like, I can just smell it on them, man. They're just not. They just don't have it. They just don't have it, you know. So, you know, go out and get used to, get used to rejection, man. Like I said, what I was telling you guys earlier, if a woman tells you she's not interested, it's okay. All right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's had a bad day, right? Maybe she's got bad gas. I don't know. Maybe she's got a stomach ache. Maybe she got into a fight with, her brother. You never know where people's heads are at, right? So I really believe that that's what's happening, especially now where people can just go on dating sites and not even actually talk to people, but get used to being rejected, man. It's all right. Your ego can take it. That's why it's okay to take jujitsu and get submitted some more, submitting people. You're going to get to a point to where you are no longer the white belt, right? I mean, that happens all the time at my school. You'll have the white belt that's always getting submitted. And then one day, what do you know? Another person comes in and they're a white belt, and they're getting submitted by that white belt that's been doing it for a month. So you see what I'm saying? It always goes back around, man. It always goes back around. So you're not always going to be the white belt, right? And if you are, you're not always going to be the guy that has the least amount of experience. So it's all in how you look at it, man. For all you guys that are of Indian descent, the Asian guys, I know you guys have from what I understand, you guys have a harder time. Let's say a real short guy. If you're a short guy and you say to yourself, women are not going to date me because I'm short, that's not a woman's problem, man. That's your problem. That's in your head. There's women that are okay, listen, man, there's women that'll be like, hey, I'll only date guys that are 6'2" and above. And then you'll see her and she's walking around with a guy that's 5'7", man. I mean, that happens all the time. So, I mean, just because they say it, I mean, sometimes they are. I mean, sometimes it's like, listen, this is what I want. This is what I like. But there's plenty of women out there that don't really care. I mean, there's actually, if you think about it, there's tall women that can't get any dates because nobody will approach them, right? So just think about it like that, man. If you have the problem, you have the problem. It's not them. Get over that. Get that out of your head, man. Get it out of your head. I see plenty of guys that when I go out with, I'm like, how did he end up with that woman? Right? Does he have money? Is he funny? Huh? I mean, that happens too, right? So I just want you to think about that stuff, guys. Right? Start building that callus now. I mean, it may take a year, but hey, it's better that you're doing it than if you spend a year at your house thinking about it and looking at all these coaches and paying all these people to make you more charismatic. Why don't you just do it for free? Go through the hardship, and man, you'll be a much better man because of it. I mean, I go out all the time. I try to, well, before the COVID stuff, I was going out at least, once or twice a week. And I work a lot of hours, man, but I almost think like I force myself to do it because, like I said, I do lots and lots of business. I'm talking to people all the time. So I have to be able to be on point, man. And I have to know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, if you want to talk about history, we can talk about history. If you want to talk about economics, we talk about economics. If you want to talk about music, and if not, if I don't know something, hey, man, I'm always down to learn. Always down to learn. So just think about it like that, man. Think about it like that. It's everything is a process, man. Everything takes time. Some people are naturally charismatic. Some people are naturally just a good looking guy. Tall, handsome, has it all. But that's not everybody. That's certainly not me. Listen, man, I don't go out and be like, yeah, people are just going to fall in love with me because of the way I look. I think people are going to like me, or they're at least going to find me interesting if we have a conversation, and we can have a good conversation, and we can have different opinions. You see what I'm saying? So just take it for what it is, man. Take it for what it is. I mean, I'm on this same journey that you guys are. I'm just a little bit more ahead, but I'm a lot older too. So when I was looking at all this stuff online, the reason why I could tell a lot of it was crap was because I already have those references from the army and just from being an older guy. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but this is not going to work. This is not going to work. So I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. And this goes out to this goes out to you younger guys, man. I really want you to pick this up. Pick this up and just be better men. You'll be happier, right? You'll feel like you accomplished something. And it'll just toughen you up, man. It'll toughen you up. If like I said before, I think a lot of men just can't handle rejection. They're like, wow, she just rejected me. And it's like, well, that's going to happen, man. Not everybody's going to like you. You have to look at it like that. And at the end of the day, man, don't worry about what other people think, because at the end of the day, most people don't really care. They just really don't care what you're doing. If you're talking to, let's say, a woman, and she rejects you, even if somebody laughs at you, who cares? Are you going to see those people again? Does it really matter at the end of the day? So, like I said, man, it's really all in how you look at it, right? Perception is reality, and it's getting ready to rain over here, but that's it, guys. Just a little information, a little like self-reflection to push out to you guys, and hopefully you guys will follow me. And really, at the end of the day, I guess it's up to me. Is the content going to be good? Is it going to be worth watching? I guess you guys will have to find out. I guess I'll have to find out. So there it is, guys. More to come. For the old breed, I'm out. Goodbye.